Hey everyone, welcome to the Fat Games Podcast, episode 4. Gary and I are your hosts. Say hi, Gary.
Hello, everybody.
And on this episode, we actually have a very special guest. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for several years, although this is the first time we're actually talking face to face. His name is David. Say hi, David. David's a pretty, I would say, prolific game developer. In the time I've known him, he has made a number of games, starting with Pull My Tongue and correct me if I'm wrong, is it Fluffy Jump?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fluffy Jump, Glitch Dash, Super Glitch Dash, Hexaflip, and you're currently working on this kind of Western style shoot 'em up kind of thing that you're planning on releasing on the Switch, right?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
So I think I got a pretty comprehensive view of your history there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself, David. How'd you get into game development?
Yeah, well, so I've always liked games. I played a lot of games when I was smaller, and I played a lot of games on the classic Amiga. All the I can't even remember the names. Didn't even have the real names on the floppy disk. It just said shooter game or whatever because I was too small to actually know the name. So I just had like copies of friends' games, and we just wrote whatever the game was. So so I was always like games, and I went to a school in southern Sweden for 2 years and studied to be a game artist. And after that, I kind of got into it, and we started a company with two other friends from the school, and ran that for I think about 3 years before we were all kind of exhausted, and we sold the thing. And I moved up here where I'm from, so I moved back up north to Umeå, and started working on another company with the Turborilla. I got their T-shirt today from the new game. I'm not working there anymore. Just great guys.
Sweet. Oh, so you actually work on a motocross game.
Yeah. When I started there, they were working on the Mad Skills Motocross 2, and I worked on that for a while, made updates, and then we made a game called Mad Skills BMX 2, and then we started working on Mad Skills Motocross 3 just before I quit and left. Started working on my own stuff for full time.
So what was that like taking the plunge into doing your own stuff? Because that's kind of scary. I mean, without income,
Yeah.
I mean,
It was really scary. I mean, I knew I had launched some games while I was working at Turborilla, so I had launched some games and I had some money saved up, but it was still taking the plunge and just seeing if you could make it full time. I mean, yeah, it was scary as hell, I would say, but just as I took that plunge and I got the Hexaflip game into Apple Arcade as one of the launch games. So that was kind of perfect timing, and really helped like kick things off and really get going.
well, you had a lot of success though with Pull My Tongue, right? You worked with Noodle Cake on that one, right?
Yeah, I worked with Noodle Cake. It's like a Canadian publisher.
Yeah. So Noodle
Really,
Cake,
really nice guys.
yeah, Noodle Cake is actually in Saskatoon, Gary.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember Noodle Cake. Yeah, we
yeah.
were trying to.
We pitched Fergal's Bounties
Yeah.
Noodle Cake. We got 2 rejections from them actually.
Oh, that's harsh.
I think it might be because we're from Regina.
Yeah, maybe I told them an email that we were from Regina originally, so maybe that's why they rejected us.
Yeah,
Some local hostility there.
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they were bought out by a Chinese company now, though.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to one of the guys who I worked with for my time for perhaps I think it was just after they were purchased by the Chinese company. And yeah, he still asked if I had some new games and such. I think they're still working on as before. They were really fun guys, really nice to work with. I actually sent them when Pull My Tongue launched. I sent them a can of the fermented herring, you know, the YouTube stuff. Have you seen the Swedish rotten fish or whatever? It's you see guys eating it on YouTube and puking like crazy.
Oh yeah,
These
no,
come in jars?
Yeah,
I've
they
heard about it.
come in. Yeah, yes, they come in jars. It's terrible. Once you crack that thing, it's like poison. It's
Wow.
like
So is there a video of you eating those things?
Yeah, it's just, the smell from those things just spread and take over the whole room. So I sent the guys one of those cans and some like Swedish local candy when we launched From My Tongue. And then made a video and posting it to the YouTube.
Maybe that's why they didn't pick you up for the next game, because
Yeah,
you poisoned them with bad Swedish fish.
Most likely. Their CEO who was like they were opening it on the patio, and the CEO was like standing up doing the throw up sounds.
Yo, how bad could it be? It's just fish, right?
Yeah, I can send you a can. You can see
There you
how
go.
bad it can be.
We're gonna get disgusting fish now, Gary.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. No, it's I don't
We'll be able to get
It's just
we'll be able to get
like-
the smell out of your place.
There's that like disgusting Thai fruit kind of thing as well. It apparently doesn't taste bad, but it
Yeah.
smells like death.
You're not talking about durian, are you?
I
Yeah,
think that's
durian,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
durian. Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
that.
it smells like fart, but it's actually
Yeah.
it's really
What's-
it's a tasty fruit. It's fatty
Yeah,
though.
yeah, it was actually surprisingly good, but it smelled terrible. Smelled like fart. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, I
you
couldn't
can
get
get that
past the
stuff
smell,
frozen.
though.
You can get that stuff frozen and it'll stink up your whole fridge.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Perfect.
So you've done a lot of work with your wife on your game. So at least with Fluffy Jump. I don't know if she's done any work on any of the other games. Has she?
Yeah. So we got started with Fluffy Jump. She made the character art and like background art, and she's really good at drawing. And she got into Photoshop because she mostly draw like pen and paper and stuff. But back then she got into Photoshop and really got going on the character art and the backgrounds and everything. So she did a lot of work on that.
So how has the husband-wife thing worked out? Are you still doing stuff together, or was it just the one game?
No, we're still doing stuff together. We made that game, we launched it, and it was, I mean, it wasn't super successful. So she was not, I got a little sick of it and just took us some time off.
Oh yeah.
And then I think like about a year ago, she took a 6-month course and into 3D art and learned Autodesk Maya. So now she's actually doing all the environment art for the new game.
Oh, sweet.
So she's also working full time on the new game.
Does the new game have an official name yet, or?
Yeah, nah.
No.
Kinda. So the official game name for now is Neon and Dust.
Neon and
Dust.
Neon and Dust. Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's what we're going with for now at least.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that one. Hexaflip was great. Pull My Tongue, as you know, was a personal favorite. I've been pressuring you to do Pull My Tongue too, but you still won't do it.
No.
I am, but you sent me a demo of that or like a build of it a while ago, and I really enjoyed it. It ran like shit on my Mac, but that's fine. I still had fun. It coming out on the Switch is definitely going to be awesome. And I just bought Super Glitch Dash as well. Way easier when it's not on a touch screen. Like I don't get nearly as mad at that game when I've got a gamepad to use. Still pretty hard though, and pretty fun, and the music is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it was really fun bringing that to Switch. As the first game, I really just wanted to see how it was working with the Switch and getting stuff out and getting things released. Yeah. So, but yes, that game is a lot easier with a controller than like touch swipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot of the like have you done all the music for your games or just for Glitch Dash and Super Glitch Dash?
No, just for Glitch Dash and Super Glitch Dash. So basically, because I was thinking of not doing that. I was thinking of finding some good musician to do like the kind of like how they did in Hotline Miami. Like find some guys who are like indie and pay them a little to like license their music and use them on levels.
Yeah.
But I realized quite soon that quite early on that the music is kind of the level design. So I can't just put in a song and hope it turns out well. So the music needs to match the level. So I just ended up like, okay, I can't outsource this. I gotta figure out myself. So yeah. Then I bought Fruit Loops and just tried stuff until it worked.
So did you have any like prior experience doing game music?
No, not really. No. And I mean, it's not like me sitting and mixing and doing things. I bought a huge music library with like drums and kicks and whatever, and like small loops with like tunes or whatever, the catch thing, and I just played puzzle until I thought,
Wow.
okay, this sounds good. So
that's pretty incredible. I don't know if I could have done that. Yeah, that must have taken a lot of patience.
yeah, it did. A lot of those stuff like, oh, this sounds like crap.
No, but the music was great. I mean, yeah, I definitely I think I could say that playing I maybe have played those two games more for the music than I mean the games themselves are good, but the music I think was one of the strongest parts of them.
Yeah. I mean the games it's a simple mechanic like up, down, left, right, and but yeah, the whole idea with the game was getting the timing between music and level. Like you see stuff come down and you hear the beats and stuff.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead.
For the Super Glitch Dash, I actually made it like the other way around. I designed the level, recorded it, and then I made the music for it, so I could match like stuff coming down and beating. Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So if that was your first foray into music, is it safe to say that you don't play any musical instruments or anything?
I played like guitar when I was little, and I don't remember much. I have a guitar, but I can't really play it anymore. I could before, but I actually after just when I was doing Super Glitch Dash, I bought a drum set, like an electronic drum set.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and got into that. When I was smaller, I wanted to play drums, but my parents thought that was too loud, so I got a guitar. So now I bought a drum set, so I'm not good at it. It's just fun.
Do you live in a house?
Yeah, I live in a house.
That's perfect. It's like
yeah.
I have a friend that has even like a electronic set, and yeah, they get noise complaints all the time. He lives in used to live in a condo building, and I swear he'd have to fork up $400 every few months as punishment.
That's nice. So my wife also gives out the complaints on the sound, even though it's sure. Yeah. But it's fun.
That's awesome. So you work on your games like pretty much every day, I assume, right?
Yeah.
So what's what keeps you motivated? What is your workflow like? How do you like stay on top of all this stuff, especially when you're doing like extra builds for Hexaflip because you're contractually obligated to or whatever?
Oh, yeah. It's always that. And you know this, I hate updates. I mean, I don't know how much I've complained about me working on updates and hating it. But I mean, yeah. So I have like a simple little Trello board for all the games for the games I'm working on, and I just put up everything I can think about. Like, okay, I should change this, or this is a huge feature. I should do this, and I just have a board with all the stuff I need to do, and if I'm not feeling like, oh, I really want to work on it today, I pick something that is more fun, like that's perhaps not really necessary, but it's more fun, like adding dropping shells when you reload the gun in the top-down shooter. It doesn't need to be there, but it's a lot more fun than making a stupid core feature thing that is huge and will take days. So yeah, and the updates thing and the contract obligations, that's just something you gotta power through, I guess. I mean, when I had a lot of those, I took 2 days with contractual stuff. Okay, I need to do this, and then I worked 3 days on the new game, just to not kill myself by the boring of all the stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. So is it hard to stay motivated sometimes, or is it, are you treat it like kind of like a job, or?
No. I mean, it's I still work for myself on my own stuff, so that's always nice. And I can, if I actually don't feel like it for a day, I can just not work that day and do something else. But I mean, yeah, sometimes I'll stay motivated, especially when you know when the prototype is done and when the like all the fun features are getting in, and now it's just okay. You gotta finish the game. You gotta wrap it up, and you gotta let's get it done. Then it can be quite hard to stay motivated.
I definitely can relate. Although Gary and I seem to have picked a game that it's going to take several years yet. How many times have I gone on Facebook and messaged you like basically, "Oh my God, what am I doing?"
Yeah. The Trello board says it's going to take 20 years.
No, the Trello board says 2027 right now, but I think we'll get that down. So that's not terrible for the scope of the game we're creating.
That's
2027. Yeah, that's coming up right away.
But we'll get it done sooner, or that's what I'll tell myself at least.
Yeah.
So what do you love about this? I mean, we all love doing this, but what do you love about indie games?
I really love the prototyping stage, like just trying stuff, seeing how it works, and just, I mean, the new game is basically the game I wanted to play. So again, I want to make a game that I want to play. I haven't really done that before with the other games. I mean, they're fun.
Even pull my tongue?
Even pull my tongue. Yeah.
Really? That makes me feel sad.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the game. I love all the games. I mean, in some way, but it's not the games that I would sit down and play, because it's really not my style of game. So this new game is like the game I want to play. So I love the exploration of finding new features and trying new stuff and seeing how it works. Nice. Figuring stuff out.
Yeah, you actually kind of remind me in that regard of someone that, well, an old childhood friend of Gary and I's, who was motivated by the technical side of things and want to figure something out. However, once he figured it out, his motivation to sort of finish it would kind of wane. And so once the challenge was no longer there, he didn't want to do it anymore. But you sort of see it through. And
I mean, I power through, even though it's not always the most
not always
features. I mean, no, I mean, when you tell people, oh yeah, I make games for a living, so that's got to be fun. Yeah, most of the time, or I mean, sometimes. It's not always fun. You can't say it's always fun.
So in terms of like a challenging aspect to this, what has been the most challenging part of creating games? Whether it's like an individual project or...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's when I was working on like the free to play stuff and trying to figure that whole thing out. That was really challenging, like trying to figure out what other people thought would be fun and trying to find out like how can I make this simple enough so everyone can understand. So I always think that is really challenging. I mean, I think the most challenging thing I've done recently is actually Hexaflip when I got the deal to go to like Apple Arcade as launch game because the time frame was like 3 months or something like that. So I had a game, I was gonna ship it like 3 weeks later. And then I got the deal to get into Apple Arcade. And I was like, okay, and now we gotta redo a lot of stuff, and I gotta get it running on Mac OS, get it running on Apple TV with that controller and everything. And like there was like 16 different localization languages, there were like Arabic and stuff. It was like, oof. So yeah.
So who did your localization? Was that Google Translate, or did you find some third-party company?
No, I had a third-party company. I've been working with them before. And they're called Keywords, I think. Really, really good guys, and they're just really fast. So I can just send him my sheet, and he knows how I structure my sheet. So it's like loads them into his program and just sends it out, and I get the back like 2 or 3 days later, translate and check that.
Oh, nice. Now, would they be able to do something like an RPG with massive amounts of dialogue?
Yeah, no, that would be my system is basically one large Excel sheet with everything just smashed together. So.
Yeah, I actually built a localization engine for Kids of Karendow. You can localize text and graphics if you need to. But yeah, just because it's there doesn't mean it's going to be used. So one day we'll see.
Yeah, Arabic was a real challenge, I can say, because they have it's the other way around. So you read from right to left.
Right. Yeah, that would. Yeah. So for like Japanese, that would be hard.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, and then they had where it's odd font where it's like everything, all the characters are put together, and if you type one word, it can just change to another depending on the whole structure of the sentence and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
but your games aren't text heavy though. There's very little text.
No, they're not text heavy. So that was the save for that game. It's not a lot of text, but I mean, I've spoken to other developers who worked on the Apple Arcade stuff, and they were like, okay, so our Arabic localizations took 4 weeks. So,
4 weeks isn't even that long.
Yeah, but I mean, for a smaller game and just getting one language in for 16 of them.
Tell us more about this Western shoot 'em up. Was it? Sorry,
Neon Dust. I think.
Neon to Dust. There we go.
Yeah. So it's like it's a top-down cover looter shooter. It's a twin stick top-down game. So it's set in a futuristic Western type world. So the inspirations have been like, have you seen that movie with Daniel Craig, the Cowboys versus Aliens? It's not a great movie.
I know that I've seen it. I don't remember too much from that movie, but
yeah, it's one of those movies. The setting is awesome, but the movie itself is kind of terrible. So yeah, so it's like sci-fi put in the Wild West.
Yeah, I think I did see it, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there are some like concept styles that are like that, the futuristic Wild West. So I started working on it and thought that would be a really cool theme. And also the reload mechanic where you get the gun up on the screen. It's like a 6-shooter and everything. So yeah. So the idea is like Borderlands meet like Fallout 2, but in real time. If everyone played Fallout 2.
I haven't played either of those games, believe it or not.
Okay, yeah. So it's like the focus is on loot and loot and shooting and has some roguelike elements and a lot of RPG stuff with skill systems and XP and level ups and stuff. Yeah.
There's actually gonna be a story in this one too, right? Or
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough story. I haven't really nailed it in but yet, but it's something along the lines of like AI has taken over the world and killed all the humans except a few, and then you are cloned back to you're cloned back from like being a gunslinger, the most famous gunslinger in the West, cloned back to kill the robot leader, and the robots have turned religious, so they have banned all the tech, so they kind of like
well, that's
no techy stuff left except what was remained before they turned religious.
So they conquered the world, turned religious, and basically banned technology. So that's kind of why it's a Wild West kind of theme thing.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck in the Wild West, but there's still technology, so it's like a.
You still have the ability to clone, because that's sort of like how when you die, they just reclone you, right?
Yeah. So when you die, you just reclone you, and then you start over again, and then you get to keep like the progress in the character you made, so the like upgrades in your skill tree and stuff stays.
So if you lose your loot when you die, I assume you'll lose your loot when you die, right?
Yeah.
Can you go back and collect it again, or is it just gone?
No, it's just gone. You're gonna have some like features to buy back some of the loot, so you can have a weapon rebuyer, so it just creates back the weapon you had when you died. There are 3 types of weapons right now, and it's a revolver, a shotgun, and rifle.
Nice. So what about for the sound and music for this one? Are you gonna take that on, or are you gonna find someone else?
I think I'm gonna find someone for this to really get the theme and the style in. I've gotta find someone who's really good at the. Yeah, I think it's gonna. I kind of want to mix between like the classic Western movie music and something a little bit more like techy, something more like a modern day Western music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. Like the Good, the Bad, the Ugly theme.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty old movie, but classic music. Yeah, my father actually used to watch that movie and listen to that music all the time when I was growing up. It was weird, and also, but I love that song as a result of it.
Yeah, it's really nice. So yeah.
So you're not taking your drums to this game.
No, I don't think so. I'm gonna leave this to the professionals, I think.
How does that sound, Gary?
No, man, I want to hear this guy play drums.
Yeah, sometime perhaps.
Nice. So you've been basically making games for your entire career, though. Like unlike Gary and I, you went to school for artwork for games. So that's I refresh my memory. So what's your age range again? I want to ask a rude question, but I'm just going to ask it. So how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 30. I would always ask my wife this. How old am I again? So I'm 34.
Okay, well, you're not that much younger than Gary and I. We're both 38. Oh wait, Gary, you're 39 now, aren't you?
I'm 39 now.
Oh yeah, getting old.
Yeah, I know.
So you're not that much younger than us then. So it's kind of awesome because like that stuff wasn't available where Gary and I grew up. Like there was no art school for games really, and Sweden's even quite a bit smaller than Canada, so that's pretty awesome that that's available there.
Nothing that we knew about anyway.
Yeah, nothing we knew about.
Yeah. So I think I was like, we were the first year on that school I went to.
Oh wow, so it's like new school then.
Yeah, it was really new, and they actually like brought a lot of people into all kinds of game companies. So all the AAA companies kind of suck in all the everyone that graduates from there.
So they move then, or they just have offices in Sweden?
Yeah, no, they have. I think the schools in they have it in Malmö and Stockholm. So two different schools. So southern and middle Sweden, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned at the very start that you and a couple friends started your own company.
Yeah.
So what was that like? How did that go?
Wow. Yeah, that was kind of crazy actually. So when we graduated school, we had 6 months where we still had in Sweden we have like payment, we have loans and student loans and payment from the government to actually study. So we had like a poor salary for 6 months after we graduated school. So we had 6 months to make a game, get it profitable, and live off it for 3 guys.
So this, what year was this when you graduated, first started doing this?
2011, I think. Yeah.
2011.
So
okay,
like,
so mobile was still pretty new.
yeah.
And the console market would have been harder to get into back then because indie stuff was still pretty.
Yeah, indie stuff on console was hadn't really picked up yet, and mobile was still kind of fresh, and we had I think they launched the Inapp system for iOS and Android like 4 or 5 months after we graduated. So I think our second game was one of the first games with actual in-apps on iOS.
In-app purchases?
So that was kind of crazy. And before that, all games were like the $1 paid games like Angry Birds and all that stuff.
So it was in-app purchases, like you did a lot of ad revenue plus in-apps?
Yeah. So even that back then, like ad revenue was kind of fresh too. So we made one game that we actually launched with Capcom.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, Capcom Mobile. We got an email one morning. I was a bit late to the office, and my friend who also ran the company was there. Like, hey, we got a email from Capcom Mobile. They want to publish our game. So it's like, okay.
So that's kind of like you shit your pants when you get an email like that. You're like, what?
Yeah. So what? How? And we were like totally fresh on this thing. We knew nothing, and we have never seen a publisher contract before. So everything was like super fresh.
Right.
Just getting those 15-page publisher contracts with all this weird law English and everything. So, okay. I guess we'll just sign this and hope for the best.
You didn't get a lawyer to help you with that?
No, we had no money for that crap, so we just okay, this should be fine, I guess. We signed it.
So I'm gonna ask, how did it go then?
Subpar, I'd say.
Subpar.
So I mean, it paid for 2 or 3 months more because we had already spent those 6 months.
Right. So very stressful then.
Yeah. So and then and everything was kind of fresh back then. So Samsung was starting their own app store too. They had a store called like Samsung Bada store or something. So we got an email from them too, and they were asking like, "Oh, do you have any games you want to launch? We are paying upfront for new games to launch on our store." So we're like, "Yeah, we have 3 games."
Buy them all.
Yeah. So and we asked like how much they could pay, and I think they paid like a few $1,000s each per game for smaller games. So then we were like, okay, yeah, we have 3 games. We had no games at all. We didn't have a game. Nothing.
So you sold them vaporware that you then quickly had to build.
Yep. So then we're like, oh, what are the games gonna be? Yeah, right. So we have 1 basketball game, and then we have a.
So you just like were shooting from the hip, and like, I hope we don't say anything that's like has incredible scope that we can't deliver on.
Yeah, exactly.
David knows how to hustle. I like that.
Yeah, it was a real hustle just to survive. And then I think we had a month, and I mean the games back then were super simple. It was kind of like Flappy Bird, that type of games, like super basic. So I think we had a month to finish and send in builds.
Jesus Christ, no wonder you're so stressed. That's intense.
Yeah, that was super intense. So we made 1 basketball game where you just like you drag with your finger and the ball goes into the hoop, and we called that hoops.
Yeah, clever.
I think I might have played that. I 100% am sure I played a game like that.
Yeah,
might have been like that game.
Yeah, and that actually got very popular, actually. So it was kind of crazy. And then we made, we made 1 kind of like a filler when you, what was it called? Bubble fill or something. You tap and hold the screen and it creates a bubble, and there are like things bouncing about, and if they hit the bubble while you're filling it, it pops. So you were gonna have to fill a certain amount of the screen with bubbles. And then we made, and when we made those 2 games, and 3 weeks had passed. So those 2 games were wrapped, finished, and sent in. And then we had 1 week to finish the last game. So we made a game called Fruit Dodge, where you're a stick figure who walks on a roof, and then there are oranges thrown from the air, basically, and you gotta avoid them by tapping like left or right.
Oh my god, that like sounds exactly like the mini game from the original Kids of Karendow, where you're on this roof of a skyscraper and tourists are throwing exploding rocks at you, and you just have to avoid these rocks. And
it's like, and Samsung they were like, okay, good, awesome.
They didn't care. They just wanted content.
They didn't care. Yeah, they just wanted to fill up their store. They didn't care at all. So like they sent us the cash, and we're like, okay, we just made 3 games in 4 weeks.
That's like, wow. I'm impressed, and that must have been a very stressful 4 weeks.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of late hours.
So after that, did you guys keep going, or were you like, we're done, we need to go find jobs?
No, we kept going. We're young and stupid. So we made, since that the basketball game got quite popular, we thought like, okay, so this is kind of cool. I think it got like, on that crappy Samsung store, it got like 50,000 downloads or something. And the others got like 500 or so, basically nothing. So we're like, okay, this is kind of popular, so we might make something like this. So we made a game called Slam Dunk Basketball, which was basically the same thing, just more levels and missions, and the free in-apps, because iOS had just released the new in-app system, and a lot of ads, of course. So that was the game we basically lived off for 2 more years, because I had a half steady income. Like we could send out an update and add some stuff, and then we could live off that and make more stuff.
It's awesome. I'm kind of jealous. It sounds like you lived the life that I wanted to live right when I got out of school.
Yeah. Well, it was fun, but it was a lot of stress, and
I'm sure
we never had Yeah, we never had enough money for like to cover more than 2 or 3 months in advance. Never, ever. So
So
it's
you're
always
always a
like,
little
okay,
stressed.
what are we gonna release next? We gotta get something out now. Every
Right.
time.
That would be pretty stressful.
Yeah,
So when you were doing this, what was like your support network like? Were your parents supportive of all this, or?
yeah. They were very supportive, and I mean, I met my wife during this time, and she had like a service job, and she had a higher salary than I did. I had basically nothing.
Making games is a labor of love. Very
Yeah,
true to this day.
yeah. And at the end of the whole thing, we actually our youngest daughter was born. So I mean, it was very stressful, very was fun, really fun time actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change gears a little bit because I want to get a little technical. And I've had a question for you that I've wanted to ask forever. How the hell did you do the tongue pulling mechanic and pull my tongue?
Oh, yeah, that took a lot of time to actually get that working correctly.
Especially like wrapping it around things too. Like that was
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So I mean, I think as if I remember it correctly, it's like it like ray casts. It shoots a ray between 2 points, and if it hits something, it checks if that point is higher up than this, or and then it kind of knows which way it's turning. So it's always like ray casting between points, and if and creating new points like this, like turn it around stuff. And if you then like turn it back, it unwraps it. Like, okay,
So
this point isn't needed anymore.
okay, so you're doing ray casting, and then what was the tongue itself? Like, how did you render that and make it wrap around things?
Yeah, so that is, I think that was like a modified curve renderer. Yeah, it was like a modified curve renderer, so I could adjust the width of it, so I can have it small and then like go to thick and just wrap around. Then it created a triangle.
Is that something that's just exists in Unity, sort of like the base? Like, 'cause I haven't done anything like that. Is that just something that's?
No, they have like a version of it, but it's very crude and it could bug out a lot. So I think I bought like a plugin, like a improved line renderer, and then I had to like adjust some stuff in that code to make it work for me for the stuff I wanted to use it.
Oh wow! I mean, it was pretty impressive. Like, you did a good job with that. I've been
Yeah,
honestly like, I know you like games are what, 6 years old now, or no? Is it?
yeah.
Yeah, and I had that question for a long time. I was just thinking about it today. It's like I gotta ask him that.
Yeah, and I mean, because stuff could also like go into the tongue. So if you had wrapped it around this thing here, and it was like that you were dragging around here, and it was like a line with tongue here, a thing could like go into it, and it would bend around that as well. So it was always like shooting rays between points in the tongue that was long enough. So it could be shooting like 4 or 5 rays in the distance of the tongue. Check if okay, is anything colliding with it now, to like bend it automatically if something.
You're not doing a sequel ever, are you? You're not gonna feed your number one fan's desire for.
Yeah, I actually have like a pitch for a sequel, and it has been pitched to like a few places. No one has
No one's
really
picked
helped on
up
it.
yet. Well, those jerks.
Yeah, yeah. Call Apple, tell them you want it.
Yeah, you'll get one sale for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So when do you think Neon to Dust will be done? Or is it still got a while yet?
Yeah, it's been a while, so I'm kind of shooting for like Christmas next year. Something.
Christmas 2022?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a while yet, yeah.
Yeah.
Kids of Karendow early access might be available at
Yeah,
the
you
time.
you might be done.
No, we won't be done. Not a chance.
It won't be done.
Be wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, that's a nice coat you're wearing.
I know I had to dress up for this occasion.
Oh. Just noticed that now. All right. David, you have been a prolific game developer for quite a few years. What kind of advice would you give either a younger version of yourself or just anyone else who's interested in kind of like getting into this? Because as you know, it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I would say like just do what you love and get going and just check tutorials and Google shit. That's how I survived. Google shit. I don't know how many times I've Googled how to like check if a vector 3 is in the right direction or whatever. How do I aim this thing at my mouse or whatever it could be. So I mean,
Some simple stuff and like some complicated stuff. I remember when I was first learning how to use Unity, I was Googling a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I still Google stuff every day.
Oh yeah.
Just
Me
because
too.
like yeah, you know, you forget things and sometimes you haven't done one like calculation thing for a while and just how did I figure this out again? And so yeah, I would say like there are loads of tutorials out there and there are lots of like resources and everything. Just figure out what you want to do and start going and just figure out each problem at a time and just Google shit.
Google nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually probably the simplest but also most important advice.
Yeah.
Google tells everything.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Gary, you got anything you want to ask?
No, I think you already asked what I wanted to ask, which was like, what do you enjoy most about making games? So, yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I think it was very similar to, you know, what Phil liked about making games, which was like just like the challenge of kind of seeing if something would work.
Solving the
Yeah.
technical problem.
Yeah.
So, what is the hardest technical challenge you think you faced? Is it the pull my tongue thing, or is it something else?
No, I actually think it was the pull my tongue thing. That was, I mean, I wouldn't have picked that issue now. I wouldn't have made that game right now because it was very technical to get like the tongue wrapping and being limited by the physics and just because you're also struggling with the Unity physics and you know how buggy that can be. And then you gotta.
Fortunately, I haven't used it much.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're lucky. So I mean, you know,
there is minimal, but yeah, there's some in Kids of Karendow.
Yeah, in all games, like physics is super buggy, it's super unpredictable, and then you're gonna try to figure out a stable solution for a tongue physics for a puzzle game that needs to be stable and not bug out all the time. So yeah, that was super tricky actually.
Yeah, I can believe it because that was, yeah, as I said, that was the one thing that I really wanted to ask them. I was wondering about all these years. How the hell did he do the tongue?
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to look back at that code right now because it was like a real mess of like hacky. Okay, this bugs out for some stupid reason. Okay, just put another patch on it and see if
it doesn't matter. That's the great thing about games, and also the worst thing about games is, well, nowadays you can have shitty code and still make a great game. Yeah. Back like 20, 30 years ago, that wouldn't fly because all assembly, you needed very efficient code.
Yeah. Yeah, so now you can always like, okay, this is stupidly costful to do this like fix, but I gotta do it right now. It just gotta work. So yeah. you can get away with a lot of stuff these days, and because you have like the processing power of the like latest iPhone is just insane.
Yep. All right. Any last comments you want to make?
No, it's really fun to be here and really nice speaking to you finally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that we finally get to speak in person.
Yeah, same here. I hope we get to meet someday when all this COVID is like calming down.
Yeah, you got to come to New York.
Yeah.
The city, you know, right now Manhattan's a little sketchy, but hopefully that doesn't last too long.
No.
But you know, when life is returned and you know things are safer again, definitely, I'd love to have you here, or I'll come to Sweden. I've never been, so
yeah, you should. Should be fun. We can have some rotten fish. Should be fun.
Oh, oh, great! Yeah, I'm
Oh, great.
definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, love rotten fish.
I want to try some of this herring that he talked about. I want to see how bad it is.
You want to taste the disgusting fish? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think Gary's going to send you his address, and you're going to ship some to him.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll take some too.
I can probably find that stuff here. I've seen jars of herring. I don't know if that's the same stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, it might be. It should be fermented herring. So it's like
fermented herring.
Yeah. So I think the process is like they fish it up, they put it in some container, they dig it down in the earth, and you just let it rot for a few months, and then they dig it up again and can it. Sounds perfect, right?
Yeah, you know what? It can't be that bad.
It can't be that bad.
Can't be that bad. How bad could it be, right? How bad could it be?
Well, you take a video of it, Gary, and we'll post it to the YouTube
I'll
channel.
put it on top of like some crackers.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's going to be disgusting. I think we're just going to wrap it up then. And David, thank you very much for joining us.